All right, I see our screens now.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the lower round 5 between EdenIssue and DonnyRekt, two great runners. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. Forrest, you want to give
That's
a
going
little
to be
background?
yeah, it's going to be a great race. They actually have PBs that are only 20 seconds apart. Eden has a 106.42 and Donnie has a 107.02. Unless they've PB'd recently and they're not submitted yet, it should be a really close race.
And the winner of this actually goes on to face Curious Peanut. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be great.
100%. So we can go ahead and give a countdown. Want to give a countdown? Thanks.
Start from 5. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Race. Off. So gonna be pretty similar for the first few minutes of the run. They're gonna be looking for their weapons and just trying to survive this early game. They wake
First
up
thing,
from the hospital bed and they're on their way.
first thing, we're just going to be hoping that we don't have any wolf memes today.
Has that wolf gotten any more kills recently?
It's gotten a hottie. I know it's gotten me. I'm not sure if it's gotten anybody else.
It's something that doesn't ever happen if you're careful, but if you're like not, looking behind you with your right stick, or if like he just times it weird, just jumps for the gate stick, or at a weird time you just get clipped, and then this guy near the ladder can be a little bit of trouble, but looks like we're fine.
Yeah, nothing at all today. Nobody's following. We're good. Making our way to the weapons right away.
Here's the straight line check. They both passed.
Both of these runners have, both Eden and Donnie have both done all bosses hitless. I'm not sure if that plays any part in how many memes you get during the speed run. If they're
I'm
able
sure
to kind
it
of use
helps
those
to.
hitless strats to keep yourself alive.
It definitely helps to know how to like fight a boss when it goes wrong. I feel. Obviously,
Either
it's
of
gonna
them,
like slow you down if you don't do it perfectly, but
right? Either of them go to grab the cane here.
we're gonna see two cleaver skips today?
I guess. Hopefully no, and quit out there. It's the roughest part. The cane is something that we'll use later in the run to kind of do a skip and just get an item earlier. And you can do the same thing with the cleaver, but it's a lot more precise. Give you some issues and cause some time loss. The cane is slower, so if you can do it with the cleaver, then that's the way to go.
Do you need bolt paper? I don't know if you actually need bolt paper for it, because I've definitely gotten it a few times without it, with just the cleaver.
The bolt paper, if you have 44 strength and bolt paper, you'll hit it with the R1, and then your charged R2 will kill the squid for the key.
Oh yeah, okay. It gives you a little bit extra damage. So you
Exactly.
need 44 strength for that.
Both of them, our first skip is sewer skip. They jump on those boxes there, and they have to hit that pillar, and then they'll quit out, and the game will lock their position on the pillar. So when they come back in, they'll just have to parkour this fence here.
Jumping straight's always the hardest part of the skip.
Hoping
As
this
you can
dog
see,
will get you.
they're lining up very precisely on that fence. All right, and so Donnie having an extra quit out, but should not be a big issue. It only cuts in the RTA by like 5 or so, or IGT by like 5 or so seconds. It's mostly an RTA loss. But Eden going to be heading up to the very first boss, Father Gascoigne, and tricks into the cutscene perfectly, and we're off. So, interesting little mechanic about this boss is you run up these stairs, and his gun kind of like stops to function on the stairs. Like the bullets, they don't hit you if he's above you. But there's a cool, neat little backstab Molotov strat that runners use. We're seeing it showcased now.
Up until I don't know how recent, it's probably a while now, but the way to do Gascoigne used to just be parry him, do a visceral, and then throw a Molotov at him. But runners have gotten so much better now over the last couple of years that you can just do it all with backstabs and Molotovs instead.
Looks like the fight is going not the greatest for Eden, but definitely manageable. Okay,
Donny had a
Eden's
really good
passed.
fight.
Very nice.
Never a really great fight.
We have our first runner pass Gascoigne. And a very nice backstab as well by Donny here to get the phase 2 or phase 3. Ugh.
Now that second roll, you gotta time it. Wow.
Very nice. Both runners are past Gascoigne. It's a very heavy reset point for that reason. The fight just like if you lose control, everything just goes mad in that fight. But very
Good job,
nice.
Donny.
We have both Gascoignes down. Yeah, good job, runners. Let's see who's okay. Eden's opting to grab the early hunter set. Not only is it defensively more capable than the Forerunner set, but it's offensively better as well with the extra beast hood, which we'll touch on that later when we get our pellets and stuff. So yeah, we got one runner with the hunter set, and we'll see if Donny opts to do the same thing. Yep, pretty standard like handshake hunter set run. Some runners opted to not grab it, but I feel like its capabilities outweigh the 6 seconds a lot of the time.
They choose to do the non-visceral Amelia strat. I think it can cut down on some of the RNG and just ensure that that last hit is the last hit.
Yeah, I guess so. Helps out. Like
I hear a lot of people mention for later, be right before ROM, you don't want to get one shot by the fireballs, and the hunter set can be with a smidge of health to deal with that.
Interesting. Like I started picking it up again recently because I feel like I have more time to save rather than the 6 seconds. And it actually helped me out like on ROM. Like I took an extra hit to a spider because of the defenses on that thing. Really, really nice.
Even with ROM, I'm sure it can be some extra meter. So these dogs that follow you, there's I think the saying is every good Gascoigne dies to dogs or old Yarnum skip, and so Donny goes ahead and quits out not to get blocked by the dogs at the door. And it's about this old Yarnum skip. I'm wondering if he's choosing, guess, no lamp.
No lamp for Eden. I think he's just going to quit out then if it doesn't go well. Because you do have enough time if you do the jumping way. If you do like the runoff, it's a little bit different. But you can still get the quit out menu up. Eden going to be just barely landing on it with enough health to spare. Very nice. Although he might have to vial twice. Okay, so he vials twice. And now our next goal is to get past these wolves here. They're also run killers, so
he can take
didn't
one
give
of
us
his
a
hits
heal.
now. He just heals. Scary. Healing there just means you get a second to get trapped. That's a little spooky, but he's moving right along.
Definitely gets a little hairy sometimes in Old Yarnum. There's a wolf coming up that we'll see how he reacts to this. Okay, great. Was just hoping for an Old Yarnum without memes. And Donny approaching the skip and nails it perfectly. Very nicely done, Donny. And now he'll have to make his way through Old Yarnum, the wolves.
He did pick up the cocktail, so he's gonna be doing the cocktail strat for BSB. It just makes it really consistent. The amount of seconds that you save by doing it YOLO are not that big of a deal to how much it changes the scripting of the fight. This is very consistent, keeping at the wall and doing your rotation.
As you can see, Eden's letting his stamina charge up to the item bar, like the very start of the item bar. That way you get 2 backstabs worth of stamina. Just like, I guess a way to always know that you have 2 backstabs is to look at the item bar. Use the very edge of it. And looks like Donnie is heading for the YOLO position. Are we seeing a YOLO BSB here? He's full HP, so you can do it.
Oh, what a backstab. He's
Right,
done
he
this
gets
before.
he gets the jump opener and then still manages to manage it. So this should be pretty all right. It'll transform the second phase. He gets another backstab off. Pretty standard stuff. He's going to chase it around until it transforms again. That was close. He canceled her attack there.
Yeah, this is a very good fight for you
Yeah.
can parry some of those jumps, but I've only seen some of the best people pull it out unlocked. It's pretty wild. So given that bad RNG, really cruise through it.
I think learning the jump opener is the most important thing you can do when you're trying to learn how to do YOLO BSB, because you can always parry it, but I think learning how to backstab, it's always going to net you more damage.
He nailed that backstab. Just the following attack was also a jump that he got a little ripped off there. Also note there was one quit out that Donnie had taken that Eden hasn't. So although a little behind in real time here, they're probably right neck and neck.
And Donnie took the lamp as well in Old Yarnum, so it's a little bit more RTA that got lost, but still relatively even to
Or
each
the quit
other.
out and that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're around like the same time. I think they're both on PS5, right? Yeah. So both runners being on PS5 definitely makes the timing a lot more accurate. Eden here approaching. It's a nice. Okay, so Eden approached the ladder warp. We'll be touching on that after this boss. And Donnie heading into the Old Hunter workshop. Gonna be grabbing an umbilical cord and a set to use for good looks. Just kidding, you sell it for a lot of souls.
Hunter's set is worth like twice as much of what Amelia's worth. It's really pretty outrageous for even in casual play. It's good to know that it's there so you can get past the first few bosses. Yeah, so you pointed out the ladder warp. While Eden fights this boss, the game has his position saved on that ladder due to a little trick that he performed. So after this boss, he's just going to jumping right back to that ladder.
As you can see, he's getting the limb breaks. It's usually R1, L1, L1 to get each limb to break. And then, as you can see, he's doing the 5R1 strat on that leg because it's now weakened. And then as she moves away, he does more R1s. Basically, you want to get her health down to this portion so you could finish her off with a 4-hit combo. And very nicely done by Eden. Donnie also did ladder warp. I didn't know if he got it first try or not. But you're gonna see Eden quit out here for a reason, because now that he's quit out, the game is now gonna put him back onto where the ladder. So you actually can't use items from your inventory while you're in this state, like while you're ladder warped, quote unquote. But you can still use items in your bar. But if you wanted to use, like, for example, like a Cold Blood, you couldn't use it with ladder warp activated.
Yeah, they're only able to be used from the tool belt. I think I just learned that recently. Well, this fight is very scripted, and the 5R1s is very precise. It's kind of difficult to get this trick because this last hit is really tough to get a hit. It is a good display. Here, we actually want to get hit by Amelia. When you get hit in Bloodborne, your stamina starts regenerating right away. So you can use it to get more hits in faster. It's used in this fight, and it can also be used in the one Reborn.
Oh, I actually didn't notice that until just now. Yeah. You get, like, bonked as she, like, goes away, and you get more stamina.
Exactly. It just starts putting it right back, and it also kind of cancels the hit too. So if you are doing a hit right after, like getting hit by a fireball, you can just spam R1 indefinitely.
So Eden here, you saw that he used that gold blood gem that he got from Amelia. We're gonna be using that very, very soon. That's why he's heading over to this lamp in the forest so that he can go ahead and slot that onto his weapon. And as we see, Donnie finishes his Amelia fight, so he's spawning on ladder warp. Gonna slot that gold pendant onto his tool belt, and he'll be doing the same. And
Besides a couple trip ups on second phase Gascoigne, maybe just struggling to finish off the kill, but I don't think any of them's had really any hiccups throughout this run. This is a really, really tight race.
it's nice to see, like, because they're both obviously pretty nervous. So it's nice to see that they're just, letting their muscle memory take over and doing what they always do the same way.
Now that X a little bit, our next boss is Parl. We get to spend some time in the dream, level up, get rid of all our echoes. We can relax. We're stronger now, and then we can go deal with this another very scripted boss. It's really what a relief to be at this point.
It's a nice nice place to go back to the dream because you're able to get +4, and then you can get 2519 from the doll set.
Oh,
Donnie having a little bit of trouble
to get back at the lamp there.
Now he's trying to avoid an attack. Yeah, that's the right move, honestly. So he does a quit out there. He's trying to avoid the wolf from doing a downwards torch attack that will you can get killed as you're warping back to the dream. So he's making the right decision here just to quit out, just line it up again. Take it from the top. Eden got he got bonked, right?
Yeah, he got it was a fast death. In the speed run, we use a scripted death to get to Parl early. So Eden didn't mess up there. He did just get smashed by the body bag. It's to get to the prison, and we'll move on to this boss. This next boss gives us access to bolt paper really early, and that's going to be used for other bosses. Also, getting this boss out of the way early means that we don't have to do a skip that's infamous for being annoying. We don't have to do it twice. So great to just get him out of the way.
I think the bolt paper is really, really nice, for the upcoming bosses. I remember when runners were doing it with fire paper. I just think bolt is so much more effective versus namely Rom, but shadows too.
I'm not sure where I just know that, of course, before they started using fire paper on Ludwig, that they actually use fire paper on Parl, and then this strat was created by this hex, where you get the charged R2 finish, and it's enough to do the final kill. That was a great fight by Eden. Also, really.
So the old strat
there.
for Parl was to break all the limbs, right? They didn't just break the 2. That's why I use fire paper, so you can get extra damage on your R1s.
Right, and you'd break the head at some point. Also, I think Pinkman, that during his race he did the old strat on Parl. It was really cool to see, but I don't remember the rotation. It did involve a head break though.
Donnie here, I just saw Donnie leveled up his vitality. That's why he went home. He took the old Yarnum lamp home, so he can go ahead and level up his fit to 12. And that was where we were discussing earlier, the hunter set plus 12 vitality. You can survive a skip that we're going to be doing. I think Eden's approaching it. He's about a few minutes out. Eden doing a nice little jump up the stone.
Silly skip here.
Yeah.
It's the easiest skip in the game. You just jump on the rocks. It's very straightforward. It almost looks like it's intended when you land on the other side. It skips a good portion of the woods.
If the map wasn't unloaded, you'd actually think it was intended.
Yeah, right.
So Donnie here approaching Dark Beast Parl. Gonna be breaking the limb and then using that extra beast damage that we got from the gold gem to do even more damage, and then does the 4 R1s, and it's just enough stamina to hold down R2. Finish him off on the broken leg. So now Donnie has access to Bolt Paper as well. And he's going to go back. As you can see, he has 10 less vials than Eden. So he's going to buy 11 vials and then some Bolt Paper, which is, again, a really nice place to stop back at the Dream.
You get to get your Bolt Paper right here. The Parl fight's such a great example of the precision needed, because you're watching have to hit a certain point to get enough damage on that first rotation. If you don't get enough damage, the strat doesn't work. You have to hit the body in a certain way. And then you have to watch your stamina to perfectly have enough for that R2. Everything in that fight has to be perfect, and they both nailed it.
Yeah. Eden here going to be approaching this little tree skip right here. So he gets the tree. Oh, nice. And fast gravestones. Very nice. Out of bounds already. Eden with a very, very fast setup for that skip. I still need to learn that. And landing the jump. Wow. Very, very nicely done. So he falls into the boss arena of shadows. And then the boss activates. And then when he spawns back in, there'll be a fog gate. Like 2 shadows, but you're not crossing the fog gate. You're just going in from out of bounds. That's why the AI is frozen, as you'll see. Because you're not actually crossing the fog to reactivate the fight. They're just still in that frozen state.
Exactly, yeah, the only way to trigger him at this point would be coming through the intended way. So we can just beat him up. Makes this fight much easier. This is a huge reset point in glitchless. If some runners still choose to fight shadows regularly just in their runs, and it becomes a huge reset point there. It's a very difficult boss, so it's convenient that we can just freeze them and get them out of the way. And
it is a fun fight, but a fight that takes a lot of practice to get good at. In a speed run, so in a race, I would almost always choose to freeze them.
Especially in a race, it is also faster. The freeze was discovered somewhat recently. I think maybe just right within 2 years ago. It's been shown.
There's been
now
multiple
to be
iterations of it too.
Faster, right? Yeah, exactly. When it was first discovered, the current iteration is technically faster than killing shadows. So most people do them now in their runs, I guess.
Eden, you're having a very beautiful Lunarium key skip, actually. First try and everything. Donnie here approaching the shadows freeze, and we'll see if he lands it. Gets wedged, very nice. And the tree jump. Having a little bit of trouble there, but it looks like he was very, very close. He just didn't roll onto the right spot.
Yeah, that's too bad.
But Eden, you're going to be starting up Rom. I wouldn't say the midway point. I'd say it's the midway point of the base game. Because after this point, it's kind of just like a straight shot towards the end of any percent.
Yeah, definitely a midway point, but it also feels like a starting point once you start, because now you have Rom, you have Unseen Village, and then you have to get past Reborn. Rom is just the start of what you know is going to be very difficult and very up in the air.
It's the start of the difficult bosses, I would say, for sure. Not that the early game bosses aren't hard. They're all hard in their own right. It's just that after this point, things get a lot bigger and scarier.
Having a good fight, though. We kill all the spiders. That way we can deal with Rom by himself, and we can do a strategy that forces a stagger right before they teleport. That gives us some more hits, and then just leaves us with 3 R1s once we get over to the 3rd phase.
So Eden finishing up Rom and getting the instant warp. There's a certain spot you stand in the moonlight and you get taken away instantly into the cutscene, which is what you want. And Donnie here doing the Shadows Freeze with Bolt Paper. I believe it saves you like a hit at some point and maybe like the mace guy. I don't know, I haven't like calculated it for sure yet, but I know a couple runners do it in their PB attempts, so it's got to be something to consider if you're not using Bolt Paper for some of the later bosses.
He didn't grab the cane. He might just choose not to use Bolt Paper when it comes to Upper Cathedral Key. Or I wonder if it's for Maria. Most people, I just recently realized that everybody uses Bolt Paper for Maria, so I've started doing it too. But definitely one of those points.
Donnie here approaching the Lunarium key skip. He has 12 vitality, remember that, so Even if he does get clipped by a fireball. Very nice. Doesn't take any fireball memes. This is another way you can actually line up the skip if it doesn't go well first try, is you can just quit out, and then it'll be deactivated because you're behind it. So you can just get like a lineup of your choice on the quit out.
All right, we're gonna be looking at that Rom fight, and right as this is happening, we have Yargul skip. So hopefully Eden doesn't have
Fingers
too many
crossed
issues with
for Eden
Yargul
here.
skip here.
Come on, Eden.
Eden
Eden
if you get
landing it.
stuck on that fence without getting through it, then you have two enemies right behind you, one shooting at you and one coming at you with the sword, and it's not a great position to be in.
Looks like Eden is zooming his way through. Don't want to say anything yet because Yargul is a very dangerous portion, but
Right, no curse. The same way, you got the cancel on the key. Hey, Donnie. Good luck with Rom.
good luck, Donnie. Getting about halfway through the spider clear. Good stuff. A lot of jumpers today.
Wait, that spit from behind leaves a lingering hitbox that's just the worst to deal with. Good job, Donnie. That was pretty rough RNG.
So he's gonna get a little bit less damage. Oh, actually 934 isn't that bad. You can get like in the 800s, and that's when you're really like hurting because this combo doesn't bring it to 3 hits HP. Ooh, Donnie getting a backstep here. This is kind of good, but at the same time not. But he'll just be able to track it and get a singular hit in.
Yeah, you
Go.
lose some time, but you got to be thankful for it being free.
Yeah,
Quick timing. Here we go with one reborn.
this is awesome.
I guess a year's race ago, this was very difficult. Or this was a run kill a lot of people. It hasn't been too bad this year, but it is a lot of things.
See, okay, that fireball right there is a good example of why this fight goes wrong about 90% of the time. That
Just right before the R1.
Nice. Okay. Like, fireballs like that are mainly gonna be what cause memes in this fight. But it looks like Eden handles it very well.
A great fight.
Nicely done. He got like I think he got a counter hit as it was like coming back up, and that's
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. One single R1. That was. Yeah.
But fireballs are mainly what's gonna get you memed, because if it gets back up, then you're gonna have a very hard time getting it back down.
Okay, Donnie actually just picked up the peach bowl paper, so he just said, "I'm gonna bolt paper shadows since I'm picking up these 3 anyway."
It's a good consider. I wouldn't even call it a peach because it loses you like maybe like a second or two.
Oh yeah.
You just are able to have bolt paper for the rest of the game, even if you miss the key first try.
And then if Orphan, you'll be thankful if Orphan has given you too long and a second backstab that you had bolt paper. We'll see where he uses it, I guess. Both these
I've
are
heard
very
that-
clean race.
I've heard that bolt. Okay, Donnie approaching the Yargul skip. So this is what happens when you. Ooh, very nice setup. Wow.
Hey, all right.
That was a really cool setup that he did there.
Best. Great stuff, Donnie. Extended R2 to get down. Some people, I've heard some people joke about like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and they just like, people really don't like that, but it's one of my favorite things.
That's so cool because it was just like you mentioned before. You can sometimes get stuck on that like outer portion of the fence when you're not actually over it, and it looks like you can just like drop off, but you'll fall off of like the edge of the platform. So we normally do like a point forward or like a bow, just something to like move your character forward a tiny bit so you drop onto the right spot. But Donnie there just using the extended cleaver to start up an R2, and it works out perfectly. He's making his way over to Reborn, the streets of Yargul.
Just
Oh my
stopping
God.
at the Dream after Reborn. Just grab the last couple upgrades before Mikolash and Wet Nurse. Another long segment, but after you finish Reborn, everything kind of calms down for a little bit. It's a good feeling. So hopefully Donnie matches up here.
Starting up his fight with Reborn. Let's go, Donnie. Good luck. Good luck. We'll see if the fireballs differ this time. So we get one right away, so that might be good. Uh. Oh my god.
Oh boy, Donnie really struggling with that arm break. Let's see.
He needs to break the head now. He needs to break the heads up in the center. But I don't think he needs to anymore. He has enough damage.
He saved it. That gets really
very
at
nice.
At any point during that flailing, Reborn could decide to go. Well, one more hit left. Okay. Wow, Donnie, give us a heart attack. Any time while Reborn's flailing too, he could decide to start dropping the hundreds of corpses where it's the big globs, and at the same time flooding the floor. And you're just going to be waiting for 15 seconds till that all ends.
Like, and if you're in the fight long enough, like you have to go up the stairs. Like there's no way to survive down below because it'll cast like this I call it soup, but it's like, you know, whatever you want to call it on the floor, and it just does damage over time, and it's not a good time. So you kind of have to retreat upstairs if you lose like 40 seconds there, because you'll have to rebuff and stuff. And yeah, very very good stuff from Donnie to recover that, because that looked very, very rough from the start.
That was spooky.
So those dang fireballs.
All things considered, Eden's had such a clean run. It's hard not to think he's a little bit ahead here, but Donnie actually like has 3 quit outs that Eden doesn't have. So it's certainly closer than it looks, but Eden is just having a race of his life right now.
Eden good and starting up the Mikolash fight. Giving us standard, I think, standard RNG opener.
Mikolash doing a full lap the tour. This is Mikolash's arena. He runs around it. We do 3 gunshots at the beginning, 3 points of damage. Yeah, great save. It's gonna make sure that Mikolash turns around so we don't have to go fight him in his room.
So as you can see, he wants to get him like into like a corner or some place where he can keep stacking up the cleaver hits and keep that beast hood going, because as you can see, he does heavy damage with his 32-25 that he got back in the dream after Reborn, which is what Donnie's going for right now, actually.
With that R2, which is just going to save him a hit in the second phase. Mikolash is in 2 phases.
Oh, that's right.
You have to kill him again.
No, not a big deal, because he's already hit the soft cap, but Donnie getting 31 strength instead of 32 because he went for 12 vitality, so levels cost more by this point. However, you need to pick up the cold blood before you come home after Reborn to get that extra point of strength. I didn't notice that until I started doing tourney runs, and it's a really, really good cold blood spot. It's like not out of the way at all. Eden here getting double standard, and he's doing this cool plunge method, right? So same idea as the first phase where you need 3 hits of damage, and that's your 3. Just the plunge and then the R1L1. So no deviation there. It was a very, very standard fight.
Good job, Eden, moving right through. Even just like the enemies running around, you can tell. Let me not jinx anything.
It's alright.
Donnie's about to be running past these spiders that can give you a hard time, and then we have Henrik, but he's just on his way. Or yeah, is that right? On his way to Mikolash.
Oh my god, I hate those spiders so much for that reason. They give you a little hook, a little right hook.
Just tap you, say hello.
But I think you're normally fine. Like you from like half HP, you'll die, but as long as you're 75% or higher, you should live. So Eden here is going actually out of his way. Normally you just go straight to Wet Nurse, right, and like an 90% run. But here we're gonna go out of our way and traverse the Winter Lanterns so we can get this very valuable gem for our weapon. We'll see how the Winter Lanterns act. It's frenzied. Everything's fine though.
An interesting jump, but it got him out of it, so he's moving moving along. Yeah, I heard somebody, or I've seen people ask before how much time that actually saves, like grabbing that gem and the damage that it's doing. But not only is it increasing the damage, the amount of damage that we're doing per hit will give us is what allows for strategies with other bosses where you're breaking their legs in certain amounts of hits. So it's speeds up the fight entirely, not only by decreasing hits, but allowing us to use strategies that are just keep the boss from moving around as much.
Definitely. Definitely the gem, it saves you more time, like way more time. Like just once you put it on, it saves you time on the first boss that you fight afterwards, because the strat that you do with it is relatively quickly and you don't have to fight it when it wakes up.
Right? No good RNG for Donnie either, and Mikolash. Just standard stuff.
3, nice. Okay. Sometimes he'll go into the room. No big deal if he goes in the room. It's a little time loss. You just walk into the room and then you walk back out, and then he'll come to the doorway. But again, Donnie getting him in a corner, doing heavy damage with his cleaver by this point. And Eden gonna start up the wet nurse fight. This is
Done a great job rotating fights.
Yeah, this is the end of any percent. But we're just getting started for all bosses. This is just like the gatekeeper to some of the later portions of the game.
Nurse is scary because she'll bore you to death, and then all of a sudden throw out something that just one-shots you and then counter hit.
Yep, I've been there before. You try to like strafe her on a hit or something, and she just swings you up in the air, golf swings you.
Besides that, it's a pretty standard fight. Mostly it's just you don't want time losses with her teleporting to the other side of the map, or you getting tagged with any hits.
Oh, we have a live Mikolash.
Oh.
I didn't actually see what happened, but we have a live Mikolash. Very nice.
I can't help but keep things interesting.
Not too big of a deal. Only had to use 2 vials there. And this, after you kill the wet nurse, it takes about like 40 or so seconds to get the lamp. I don't know why. It's just like something that has been a thing ever since the game was around.
They didn't write any end dialogue that they meant to put in there.
Yeah.
Waiting for the lamp.
And so we're going to get our weapon to +9 and put on 2 more gems, both of which we got in the Nightmare of Mensis right after Mikolash. And Donnie's actually going to grab them right now. And Eden is now... So you see that he doesn't have his Hunter's Garb on. It's for this skip and another skip. He'd like to see his feet. He's trying the Lecture Hall skip, where you jump off of like the corner, and you're supposed to go over the railing, but as you can see, it's a really precise skip with no like accurate lineup. If you're going in it running, you kind of have to just like do a loop. But he
right on time. His resets were so fast. I think it's about 25 or I think 19 to 25 seconds to go around. So generally the rule is 5 or 3 or 5, depending on how fast you're resetting your attempts. But he gets it right around that mark.
And everything his saved time. Like it saved like a couple seconds for sure.
Oh yeah. People call it Lecture Hall skip. So
RNG skip. No, it's not really RNG. It's just like super precise, and like the lineup is just so like it's hard to get into the lineup spot, if that makes sense, because the hallway is so tight. And here's the second skip that you want to see your feet for. He walked over to the ledge and did a little sit down gesture, so he would fall off, but he's not actually falling off. He's gonna spawn in, and his location is gonna be saved onto like this rock. And from that position, fall damage wouldn't kill you. But if you drop down from up top, the fall damage would be enough to take you out.
The game saves you like a polygon, like a halfway or 3/4 of the way up the shaft there, so it drops you from there. That, and then you just skip
Ooh,
the whole frontier.
I always get scared whenever you get a hard fall right there, because that the silver beast is coming. Donnie here getting a very nice strafe. Donnie getting the golf swing opener. Thankfully he avoided it. As Eden starts up the Amygdala fight. Watch
gotta
very
pay
closely.
attention to Eden quick; it will be over before you know it.
And as you can see, the gem's already saving him hits here. You just do ridiculous amounts of damage.
It's supposed to be like a mid-game to maybe late-game boss, but
You're already
this
like
point-
finished with your build.
exactly. If you're able to hit that head, that strat, it is pretty precise, because if you hit it just a moment too soon, then it doesn't do any damage, and if you hit it a moment too late, miss. But
Oh, Donnie's got some cold bloods to make up for the points that he lost.
and a very clean fight too, right at that
Yeah.
end, finished it up.
He was getting nightmare phase, and then he cleaned it up with the last 4 hits that he needed.
Donnie,
And Eden, I believe, is now approaching the Forbidden Woods again. Yeah. So our goal here is to grab another one of those cords that we got from both killing the wet nurse and then going into the workshop early in the game. And so now we're getting our third cord, our final cord, as well as these an invitation to a party just for you. Just
all
kidding.
invited.
You don't want to go there. It's very cold.
Oh, this is mostly, I call it a diplomacy mission, because you really just gotta go a run from the lamp all the way back to the starting area, essentially, and go grab
So,
some items.
You may have.
Good job, Eden.
Yeah. I was gonna say you may have missed it. It's no big deal because we're gonna see it again. But you may have missed it. But Eden crossed over like the gravestones in a certain pattern. You don't want to go like too far left or too far right. You want to mainly just run across those gravestones in like 2 diagonals, and then do a jump, and then you get out of bounds, and then you fall into like into the cave from a very specific like pixel you can see like as you're dropping, and then you just roll out. Otherwise you get stuck in the rocks. But we're gonna see it again, so it's a very complicated skip, way more complicated like when I'm explaining it, but we're gonna see it again most likely.
Risky skip too. It saves, I think, 13 seconds. Most runners do it at this point, really.
I believe
Sure.
it saves you like 15 closer to if you do it like super fast. But yeah, 13 seconds if you're like lining it up and
Yeah,
stuff.
people run into that so quick, but it's dangerous if you miss it by a little bit.
You get soft locked in the gravestones, and it's you have to die because if you try to mark out, there's a wolf following you, and he's just gonna cancel it.
Donnie got lecture hall on his 4th round. But that 3rd one was a total robbery. Making his way, his frontier skip on his way to Amygdala.
So Eden here approaching
100%.
the Canehurst summons. Very nice. He actually picked them up, unlike me. Yesterday I had a really good run while we have some downtime. I had a really good run, make it to the carriage, and then there just wasn't a carriage there, and I just was wondering why, and then I looked at my key items and it wasn't in there.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, and then I did the final 2. It was like a 106.40.
That's pretty brutal. I once thought I PB'd, but then I remembered I didn't kill Amygdala.
It's alright, it happens. Donnie here doing Amygdala.
It's that opening
Doing
hit.
the-
These guys are nailing it.
Okay, so Eden here got his summons, got his cord, and now we're done collecting stuff. Now it's time to do a little bit of cleanup.
Done collecting stuff and also done relaxing, because after Reborn, I think the relief from being at this point kind of ends when you have to go to Upper Cathedral Ward.
It kind of starts with cave skip. And then
That's
after
true.
cave skip, it's like more downtime. But then after that, it picks up for sure. Like once you're warping into the cathedral. And there's his echoes, by the way, if you didn't notice, from dying the scripted death to the snatcher.
Sign everything is going well.
Yeah. Oh my god, the invisible bridge. We're playing Dark Souls 1 now.
So we've done any percent. Now we're doing all the optional bosses. The areas Eden's going to right now is Upper Cathedral Ward. We have 2 bosses in this area, but it's also an area where monsters are some of the most dangerous in the game, and the just layout
Ooh,
is not very safe.
Donnie went for the impossible jump,
Oh,
but he's just doing it the normal way. Hits it perfectly. Yep. It's not actually impossible. It's just people call it the impossible jump because you have to roll onto the right spot once like your jump is completed. But yeah, we can
feeling
touch
cave
back on
skip.
Upper Cathedral. I think that's like my like thematically like one of my favorite areas. Just because I like the choir set so much, and you learn so much about like the choir and stuff. You get like there's like that note that says like the sky and the cosmos are one at this point, and it's just like a really like atmospherically creepy, and they did a really good job with not
I,
only hiding this area but just making it a great one.
it's like somewhere in between. It's like somewhere in between with the nightmare and the rest of the world.
I didn't think about that. It's like super high up. You get to see you get a good glimpse of the blood moon sky as well. Oh, Eden here dealing with the bouncer.
Show us our first difficult enemy of the area. No problem. So this is what we were talking about the cane earlier. This is where this could come into play. But
But
Eden is
as you can
confident.
see, he kind of he walked towards the wall, and then you saw like the brainsucker's hand like move forward a little bit, and then you kind of want to just hit the hand in the right spot, and you'll get him to come to the door like every time. Maybe it's not the hand, I don't know, but I use the hand to line it up whenever I'm doing it.
Okay, coming up, but problem. I have one other item to pick up here before we're on our way to the bosses. This is one of the badges, and it allows us to buy beast blood pellets, which is the item that we're using to upgrade our damage. Now we'll be able to just buy this item from the dream and continue to use it through the run instead of having to pick more up.
It's also worth noting if you don't get the key skip first try, the brain sucker's rotation will be off. Like he can block you in the doorway when you grab the badge. So it's important to hit the skip not only so you don't waste a bolt paper, but also to save time so that you don't get stuck in the doorway. But Eden here gonna hop into emissary. I believe he's doing the YOLO strat.
Just like it.
And yep, very
Very
nicely
clean.
done.
That you'd wonder what's the non-YOLO strat, since that looked pretty safe, but all those things surrounding him at any moment come up behind you. It's about spacing and it's about the way you enter. So done it so much like
Yeah,
Eden
he did
was
it
supposed
really
to do.
well. Like I've tried it before, and like the aliens like spawning in have like kind of like done that like falling animation on top of you as they're like teleporting in. I gotten like bopped a little bit by those guys, but if you know what you're doing, you just get 1-2, and then he backs up into the right spot, and you get 4 hits, then it's over. And that's why you use the bolt paper there. But he's entering Ebriatus, the gatekeeper to the DLC. As you can see, he was prepping that tentacle, and it's going to be a series of hits in succession, finished off with a nicely placed charge R2.
Another scripted
And
boss, but that
yep,
first R1 has to be perfect. Again, a little early, and it doesn't do any damage, and it also wastes the arm break in that case, so you have to not do any damage for the opening. Do it a little late, and you'll just miss, and she'll one-shot you.
man, the discipline of holding that R1, like the first R1 to knock it over, is just like your nerves are pumping at that moment because like
Go now?
you prep the
You go now?
tentacle, and then
Exactly.
looks like okay. Looks like we're out of that part. Donnie crossed over the two gunmen that are there. Pretty scary stuff. There's a non-quit out version that's like super scary, but pretty sure you opted for a quit out. Eden here, actually, we should cover. He has 61 insight right now. And he didn't pop his insight until he got grabbed to go to the DLC, because it would actually mess with his damage for Ebrietas. So now he's popped the insight, and now we're going to clean up one more early game boss before heading on over to the DLC. And he'll be using that insight very, very soon. Donnie here heading up the stairs to Upper Cathedral. We'll see how that goes for him. Let's go, Donnie. Heading up to the bouncer. He's out.
Dodge, Donnie.
Approaching the skip. Nice. Okay.
This is... Oh, perfect. Okay, I thought it was a little...
I thought it was a
and
little bit too far left, but yeah,
and
he
even
got
with
it.
his 12 vit, even with his 12 vit, he had the strength. So yeah, you were right with that cold blood. He that back in, he's able to get 2 shots. Thinking. So Ian is going to be not only using this last boss for insight, but right now, up to this point in the run, we have a +9 weapon. And before we go to the DLC, we want to get that last upgrade.
The hardest
Blood Rock.
boss in the game, truly.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to curse anything coming up to this boss, actually, so I should just wait. We are going to use this insight to get that weapon upgrade.
How many hits to get to the center of a cleric beast?
All right.
Very nice.
This used to be done earlier in the run, but it works out perfectly in this case because the echoes that Cleric Beast gives us is what we're going to use to upgrade the weapon.
It's like a really, really nice use of the echoes that like you would normally need to get from like selling something. It's very efficient. Gets the blood rock, gets some pellets.
I did the non-YOLO strat, very clean.
Yeah, you just R1L1 the guys to build up beast meter, then you don't need to use a bolt paper for the fight, so it's kind of the same. Actually needing to pop his pellet down here. He has to be mindful of his beast meter though, because you don't want to hit the tentacle when you still have beast meter. That 20% damage boost kind of affects the strat here, but he's fine.
See if he does a different opener. There is a cool opener with by punching. Oh, okay.
Doing the standard opener. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like you take off your gun, right, and you like L2 him, and then
yeah, you punch him and then you transform your weapon hit, and then I think you punch again, or maybe it's just to transform after the punch. But
yeah, that's how you save a bolt paper. You take the bolt paper from YOLO Emissary, and you use it on Ebrietas.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So here's some more downtime, I think, because obviously, like all memes aside, Donnie's got Cleric and then DLC, so lots of running up ahead. Eden picking up the eye pendant for an elevator later on. Very important. You pick that up so you don't have to come back through this area.
X-Man's looking around, but
yeah, there's been a few times. There's been a few times where he's made it like all the way up the stairs, and there was actually a time where the torch guy. I don't know who I was watching. The torch guy won at one point. I forget who I was watching. It was insane.
Real David and Goliath situation.
Yeah. So here's a little quit out thing you can do.
Exactly.
Reset the position of the enemies essentially, because like as you saw in that freeze frame, the boom hammer guy was blocking the way, and then the two Molotov throwers are throwing them in your path. So you kind of just like have to quit out there, or you can like head down the stairs and wait a second for them to come out. That's the no quit out version. And he'll just hit these guys twice and then run along.
Exactly. Once they're back in the house, we can just go around them.
This blue elixir is very important.
100%. The whole DLC is so dangerous, and this is the river here, the Blood Lake, is one of the most dangerous areas.
Like, not having an elixir here is like a death sentence, essentially, if you're trying to do it quickly.
Coming up to
Because
this ladder, and
this hunter right here,
worst
yeah.
possible RNG, this hunter will shoot you 3 times, and you just die, and there's nothing you can do. It's pretty, very unlikely that that ever happens.
We got 2 shots right there.
It's just as unlikely to see that, so that is pretty wild. That's why we blue elixir also. That kind of can help make sure that that doesn't happen.
And like I've heard you can like quit out and like just climb up the ladder again, but I feel like that doesn't really work. Like I feel like it'll get messed up as soon as you like walk away.
You can quit out at the bottom of the ladder and then just hope. It works, but not.
You see that? See Donnie finish
Pull a
off
gunshot.
Beast? Yeah.
Ludwig, probably a lot of people's favorite boss for the DLC. We handle it like another scripted fight. Everything has to be timed very well, otherwise it can go
Looks
wrong.
like he got the strat though. I think he got it. Yeah.
The idea is to get this charged R2 while he's dashing like that for counter damage, and that sends Ludwig right into his last phase, which means that he does this big burst and this attack. Just make sure that we know exactly what he's doing.
We'll see that
Strange
again
last hit.
once Donnie heads over to Ludwig. So I feel like we kind of glossed over it. So we can cover that again when Donnie gets to it. But yeah, Eden getting past Ludwig with relative ease and then charging up a stamina to full, very important, because I've had times where this lady right here with her cosmic eye can send you back to the lamp because you're fully pelleted up, so you have like no defenses.
Because you have 14 stamina going into that, so all of a sudden running all bosses, I kept running out of stamina right when I would go next to her. It's the worst.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Also, like the anti-clockwise rune can throw you off like for stamina consumption.
Right. We do another quit out here just to reset these enemies and allow us through another doorway, because a lot of the DLC is just enemies blocking doorways and us needing to get around them quickly. Visiting Lawrence.
Now we'll see how these IV enemies react to Eden. First one looks pretty good, and then there's like one more that he has to deal with.
You think we'll see a research hall skip?
A research hall skip. Which one?
Oh no, they didn't.
The new
So
lineup.
if they had tried, there's a new setup for the research hall, the faster version that somebody had just been working on today, and they were posting in the Discord, which looked really wild. Great.
That one
dodges.
looks really good.
That was spooky. Yeah, so I don't expect to see that, but maybe the slower version, just a little parkour.
I like the slow one because it skips the hunter, but we're probably gonna see a standard elevator drop down. Here comes the rat to end his run. All right, dropping down. The hunters spawned in,
Rock on.
but I think everything's fine. Everything's fine, TM. Okay.
So these bosses, living failures, it's multiple bosses in one again, and the first thing we're looking for is just
That was a
failures
good
attacking.
opener.
Yeah,
That was
great.
a good opener because he walked right forward and didn't attack. They can just like kind of wander around the arena sometimes, but no complaints about that opener. And then you
Slick
kind of get them in
dodge.
this loop right here.
Exactly. So Eden will probably after this one, Eden will be waiting for for his buddy to show up.
Yeah, I think it's after this one. You can kind of predict it if you like swing early, but then you lose out on stamina if you're not right on your prediction. I don't actually know if there's like a pattern to their spawn out like after like the first few. I think it is just random though. But
I think
Eden
it's
taking
based
out
on the
failures.
percentage of health.
Oh
It's
yeah, that could definitely be it.
strange.
So I mix in L1s as well, so that could change it. But
It seems like if he's at like 50 to 55% health, then he'll. But if you like skip that 5%, then then he doesn't spawn all of a sudden for another rotation.
Donnie here getting the first stagger on Ludwig, getting the triple R1, fire paper. Okay, so this was a strategy that we kind of glossed over the first time, but you're getting a better look at it. Looks like he got it too. The goal is to get that counter damage on that charger too, and then you get 3 hits in here, get knocked over, let your stamina go up, and you finish out the fight. So something we kind of glossed over. Sorry about that, but we got another look at it. So Eden now starting up Maria, another synced up boss fight. Back to back. So strat here is to just take your time with your R1s, I feel. Kind of get a feel for the fight, because she can do some hyper armor attacks, which leave you at very low HP, to say the least.
Biggest
And
thing
when you
with Maria is just making sure you have a little stamina left just in case after every rotation.
I don't know how he does it. Like, he calculated the HP perfectly there, it seems like, Eden.
Good fight, Eden.
Really good fight.
Really, everything has been very clean for Eden. Not to say, Honey's just had no big hiccups, but even just when it comes to getting that woods lamp or little things like that, it's been a great runs by both of them.
Everyone wave to Eden.
Eden. So Eden does have a blue elixir. He's going to be using it here for one of the most dangerous little tiny areas in the DLC. We have to run through to get to our last DLC boss, or second to last. But
I think, I don't know when it is you have to start your sprint, but like these dialogues can really mess up your sprint and like put you in a jog until you're done with the dialogue. I've only just started recently noticing that, but it seems like he starts up the sprint as the dialogue is appearing on his screen.
yeah, if you hold it, you can go through it. It's weird if you like scroll through it really quickly. It seems that there's some sort of break.
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel like that's it then. Just hitting the dialogue quickly. You want to get to a full sprint and then go through the dialogue, I think, is the way that you should do it.
I believe this kind of went over my head before, but I'm pretty sure he did not early skull. Eden is actually just going for a PB
I don't think,
this race.
did either runner do early skull? I don't know if Donnie did early skull. But you saw him use a blue elixir there. Did he pick up an extra one, or is he just doing the Hamlet?
He's out of blues now, so he'll buy one for Hamlet.
Okay. So you just won't use one for Hamlet?
Oh, Donnie.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, did he just run out? I guess yeah. We're going
I don't know if he
Ham.
ran out, but he used one for the IV person at the top. I know he's been having trouble with the slow overheads, so that's a really good decision to just use the elixir there.
I do that. I go really peachy with my elixirs when I do this race, so I totally understand using that.
Not a bad opener necessarily, but a scary one whenever. Ugh. Like, I knew that fight, I knew it was going to be kind of hairy, like, as soon as, like, the opener was happening, because, like, it looked like that he was approaching for an attack and then kind of sat still for a second and then attacked. Like, whenever that happens, like, they all kind of act that way. So, a little bit unlucky, but he'll get right back up because he pushed the lever. This is the downside of doing the skip, is if you die and continue, you have to go all the way back up. So
exactly, he's got that nice elevator though. He'll be right back up. Eden having a great orphan,
just like a textbook.
I think this is his first butt scratch.
Yeah, textbook orphan.
But
like
it's just quiet.
He's chilling with his pal orphan, standing still, AI frozen. But if you don't know, that's what happens when you kill him in the first phase, is that he doesn't have like a death animation. Then you're getting a much better opener the second time around. The failure knows exactly what it wants to do. It's not conflicted. And here we go.
This is what we had meant by early skull. Most people in a race would grab this early before they go kill 3 of the DLC bosses. But Eden said, I'm not going to have any problem, and he ran right through him, and then he came back for the early skull. It just saves you the time lighting the lamp and any other lamps that you might choose to light.
Man, now that we mention it, I hate grabbing the skull after you kill Orphan, because it's just like, if you get any memes in the elevator, like, you already killed Orphan, so like you're just like losing time at that point. I don't know, it just feels bad to do the skull later in the run. It's just like more nerve-wracking. I've definitely
Yeah,
gotten sword rolls up there before.
that's like at least you can think to yourself, oh, I can maybe make that time back up at Orphan. After Orphan, you just want to get through it.
So Donnie
Not sure
took
if we
care
mentioned,
of... What's up?
I'm not sure if we mentioned the pellet. For after failures, we try to do failures so quickly that we still have pellet left over. And then our next boss is immediately after that, so we quit out, and that preserves the pellet. And then we'll just pop another pellet to get that 1 minute back up and allow us to start building it up again. It just lets us start the fight with a huge damage increase right off the bat.
Yeah. So he refreshes his pellet, and now he's able to build up more. You get the damage increase, believe it or not. I am pretty sure. Yeah, so that's the hyper armor attack that she can do, which is very annoying.
Yeah, my jaw kind of dropped there. That was a pretty rough hit, and I think that was her opener attack.
Yeah, she like dashed inwards and then did that. That was insane.
You have Lawrence starting. This is another very scripted boss, but has to be precise, especially with your stamina usage. If you hit his head at all throughout this fight, you're going to be sorry. So everything has to be leg or arm, and it depends on the hits that you want, because you also don't want to break the arm early. It's a very
good.
fight.
Yeah. Okay. We're good. We're good. It's like the main points in the fight are the very first leg break and then the arm break are what you really want to have go right, because if you miss the arm break, I think you're just dead. And the first leg break the same. And then the more meter you get, obviously, like the less defenses you have. So like when he activates for real, then that'll not be a good time. So Eden pulling off that Lauren strat very, very well.
A great first phase
As
kill.
Donnie is calling the elevator down to have his second bout with Maria, taking a seat.
This is the worst elevator too, because you're just waiting for that button to come back up.
Yeah.
Donnie did go grab Skull, so he'll be able to beat Maria and just go straight to Orphan, and then just go Lamp to Lawrence. He'll be right back on pace, so he'll be moving along here. Won't have to come back. Lawrence is done. We have a few bosses left on Eden's side: the Witches, Canehurst, and then the last two bosses of the game, Gehrmoon.
Wow, that time really just flew by. Seems like a minute ago they were both at Wet Nurse.
Yeah,
But
well, and I think Eden
Donnie
might
getting back
have
into
only
it.
just been a minute ago.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. Donnie getting another hyper armor attack. And he has very little pellet meter or beast meter. So he has to do a little bit more R1s here to get her into that state of transforming. He's waiting for
He's
the
looking for
right
a
time.
backstab.
Yep.
That was a smart play, 100%. That's going to guarantee the fight, pretty much.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. Come on. Nice.
He didn't do those backstabs. It might have been faster, but it would have required him to dodge probably a move both in a second and third phase.
I think, yeah, I think it's a really solid strat for when you're doing it without full meter,
Yeah,
like half meter or below. It's a good strat to do. The backstab.
really
You get
smart
an
play.
R1L or you get an R2 L1 L1, which is like you're building up your meter back up to full.
Oh yeah, he did. He didn't even. Yeah, he did just do the R1 L1 L1, didn't he? Or R2 L1 L1.
Yeah, because it gets her, it keeps her from double backdashing, which is what happens sometimes when you do too much damage to her.
I see.
Eden here going to be walking up Hemwick, Careful, there's a dog coming. I think he already knew that.
He does have his extra. Oh, but Donnie, not sure where if Donnie. Well, he does have a blue elixir for Hamlet though, so he should be.
That's
he
good.
should be
Yeah.
prepared.
I don't know where he picked up an extra one, but yeah, that's really good that he has that one because otherwise he has to cross these skulls without an elixir, and that is just like really scary. And also these dogs, they can come up and they stagger you with their roars, but with the elixir you don't normally get that meme because you're like right out of their range of vision. So Donnie's gonna grab the lamp, very smart, because who knows what this boss can do, as well as he grabbed the skull, so no big deal here. He's gonna be approaching the Hamlet skip while Eden approaches the Witches of Hamlet fight. And don't blink or you'll miss it. That's the first one.
He doesn't have the guy in a weird position, so he can just
Really
walk
good
right
rotation
over.
on that guy, yeah. 3, 4, 5. And now we do a quit out here on that barrel. Once he gets the echoes, he can go ahead and quit out. Donnie here
So-
landing the Hamlet skip.
I think it's because like while you're on the barrel, I don't think the game understands that you're no longer in a boss arena, or that you're no longer in a boss arena until you actually touch the ground. So once you get the echoes and you quit out, you still haven't touched the ground. So that's why it puts you outside of the boss arena. Because if you aren't touching the ground and you aren't on top of the barrel, you'll just come back into where you quit out from. It'll just save you the time to leave the arena, and it resets all the enemies, so it's a little safer to run back to our next spot.
So Donnie had
a really
to,
unfortunate moment there.
yeah. So he had to redo the Hamlet skip because he went to the second part of it, and I don't know what happened because he ran in the right spot. I think he just like got clipped upwards into the wall. He got stuck in the wall. No big deal though. You just mark back to the lamp that he took. So not losing too much time here. Gonna go ahead and do it again. I think he lines up. Yeah. Good stuff. So Eden here approaching the coldest area in the game, or the coolest area in the game.
I just realized that the other day. I think it's cold in Yarnum. I think it's
Yeah?
snowing in central Yarnum. I think they have bonfires for heat, and everybody's wearing a coat.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That's the hunter set is like a trench coat, so like obviously to protect you from like rain and stuff and all that. I feel like there's lots of sewers and stuff. And like
No reason. There's definitely. Oh, Donnie did miss that one backstab though, but he gets a good dodge. He got the second set of backstabs pretty clean. And that's usually what you're looking for.
yeah, I think now he's good. That backstab. Oh,
He's got a weird.
nice.
He's got a weird.
Nice. Okay.
Oh. But you can a couple of times throughout the Orphan fight, Orphan will allow you to manipulate one of his attacks, and that's by a dodge, Donnie.
Oh my god, he's playing with my heart right here.
You attempt to use an item, or you kill that will get Orphan to try to jump over your head, and it can only happen occasionally, so you can't do it over and over. But Donnie tried to unequip one of his items from the tool belt, didn't do it quick enough, so he just decided to heal, and he pulled the attack, and he was able to just move right on. Great fight.
This is really good stuff. Because like as you saw, Donnie got a couple of memes throughout the DLC, but he didn't let it snowball. He just is gonna go ahead and finish strong. Like that a lot. So he's gonna go ahead and grab some pellets, grab an elixir, and some bolt papers, and head on over to Lawrence. As Eden is climbing up the rooftops of Caners. There's icicles in the ceiling. That's how cold it is there. Look at those icicles.
There's definitely a reason why these two are in round 5 and only a few races away from being in the finals, because they're just like two of the best for sure.
Insanely good runners. Like I think Eden was playing on his PS4 when he was playing versus me, and I finished like 2 minutes RTA after him, and it was like a 5 minute difference. Like that's how insanely fast he is.
Well, we do. Kanehurst has claimed actually both of these runners in earlier races.
Oh yeah.
So it's like Eden. After the first or second combo, you kind of know whether you're going to be okay, and Eden has a very clean fight. You're just doing 2 attacks to get him to move backwards, and then he's transforming to his second phase. You double backstab and it ends it.
Looks good for Donnie as well. Got the first break on the limb for Lawrence. Now he's going to get his second. Stack up some more Beast Meter. And now he has enough Beast Meter to one-shot the arm. There's a little bit of issue here if you don't get that second L1 in, but he's doing it perfectly. He's going to go ahead and get some more Beast Meter. And we're going to finish up the fight as Eden starts up the final 2. So Gehrman, the first hunter, he's got a big scary scythe, but Eden's got a gun, so what's more scary?
This is a great fight. Oh wow, that was a weird gunshot. I guess I shouldn't curse anything.
Okay, I think we're good for now. Okay.
Or double backstab, and we'll be a few.
Oh,
hits
we're actually
away.
gonna get two Gehrman and Moons at the same time. So Eden finishes up his Gehrman as Donnie starts up his. Let's go, runners! Finish out strong. Oh, this is awesome. Eden getting a first knockdown on Moon. Donnie gets
And for the visceral
sword phase. Oh man, I'm trying to cover both at once, but it's too much.
Eden's too clean. That one's down.
A little bit of elevation there, as you saw.
Yeah, that's
Gehrman can dash like up the rocks, and then he can dash right back down and slice. But yeah, we're gonna see Eden's final time. Wow,
7:13.
that's insane. 107.13 from Eden.
It's only 30 seconds off of his PB, I think.
Really?
Great run. Really great run from.
Yeah, great stuff, guys.
107.13. Is that like a top 5 of this tournament so far? It might
It has to be. It has to be. Like
God, he got a 106 and a couple 107s, but they definitely
in
weren't
March, you got like a 107 at one
107.40.
point. Yeah.
March, you got like a 107 at one point.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, great race.
Yeah, great stuff, guys.
Thank you.
Funny, how do you feel about the AFK failures?
You couldn't mind? Or Donny? Are you asking Donny? I don't know who got AFK failures.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Donnie got like a half AFK opener. It was like really weird. Like the slow hand swipe.
He kind of faked him out like he was about to swing, and then he ended up just taking one step towards him. It was a lot of rough RNG moments, Donnie, but it was a great orphan fight.
Yeah, it's whatever. GG Eden.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. I was like stressed the entire time.
You have any thoughts, Eden? You're going to be going on to race Peanut, possibly move into the finals soon.
I'm losing next one. You always gotta undermine yourself. I'm losing next one easily.
Is he reverse cursing himself? Is that what's happening here?
Perhaps. But yeah, I don't have really much to say. It was a pretty decent run.
Okay, so we're bringing some people in that are going to talk about the DS2 races for tomorrow. Is that what I'm hearing or understanding?
I guess so. Peanuts?
We're just showing the race for tomorrow's DS2 tournament.
Okay.
And the next match will be, I think, me and Eden.
Any opening thoughts to that match?
So we'll have to schedule that hopefully soon. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. I don't have anything else. Floor is yours, commentators.
Okay.
Um,
Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the race. It was a great race.
Audio messed up. Well, I think it's just me. My audio cut them off for some reason. Because thanks. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. We got a DS2 race tomorrow. Be there, be square. And thanks for watching.